Good morning and welcome to Free Advice Friday. My name is Keri Barnum and I am here for New Shelves Books to answer all of your questions about book marketing, publishing, and really anything about the business of being an author. On Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern, we come together as a group to talk about what's happening in publishing and answer your questions. You are welcome to join us live by going to newshelves.com/FAF. If you can't join us live, you can always email in your questions to info@newshelves.com. We do record these sessions and the replays go up on YouTube, which is just youtube.com/newshelvesbooks. So we have a couple of questions live in our chat. I'll get started with those before hopping into our emailed questions today. So Jane is asking, when changing the price of a book and therefore changing the price on a barcode of a book, who needs to be notified? So if you're changing, let's say you need to change the price of your book, either up or down. If your book was $17.99 and you're changing that price to $22.99, or you're dropping it down to $15.99. What that means is for your print book, if you have a price barcode, that has to be updated or else the wrong price is going to print on your book cover if you're using print on demand services like KDP or IngramSpark. So when you're updating your price, yes, you do need to update your priced barcode. And you guys know that you can pay for that service, or if you go to YouTube and you go to the New Shelves YouTube and search barcode, you'll see a video on how to make your own price barcode for free. Just takes a couple of minutes. So once you get that price barcode, you have to upload your new files on the printing platforms like KDP and IngramSpark. So that's step one, decide your price. Step two, get your new price barcode, put it on your cover. Step three is to upload that new book cover to your printing platforms. Then we have to notify the appropriate places that your price has changed. So for a print book, that typically is going to be on KDP directly. You need to change your price. When you upload that new book cover, you need to do the same on IngramSpark. And then you need to change your price on Bowker. Now, Bowker in the US at least is where we register our ISBNs, and a price is required. When you're setting up your ISBN, you can choose something called write in, where you essentially say, I'm not telling you the price, you have to write in and request the price. But most people will just put the price of their book in there. So you will need to update at Bowker. And that's pretty much the only places you should need to update. Now, if you're printing directly with Barnes & Noble Press, or if you're printing with LuLu or some other entity, then you need to update there. But wherever you're printing at and Bowker are really the main spots where you need to update your price. And then your pricing goes into effect. Now, I know that some people are changing their price, especially recently, because KDP is increasing their print prices starting June 20th. So we talked about this a little bit last week, as well as I released a blog this week. I'm dropping the link for the blog in our chat, but if you're watching on Facebook or a replay, you can just go to newshelves.com. Go to our blog section. It's the first one up there talking about KDP print pricing. And I talk about what it actually means for the average author. There's a lot of hype out there. There's a lot of fear mongering going on. I'm talking about how royalties are going to decrease 35% and things like that. And while that's true for some books, especially large trim size or certain books printing in color, like children's books, cookbooks, that may be true. For the average author, you're only going to see a royalty difference of maybe about 5%. If you have large trim size, color print books, things like that, you may actually see a decrease somewhere between the 10 and 35% range, depending on your book. So you want to check that. But if that happens, if you're like, oh my gosh, I am not making very much on my books and that doesn't work for me, all you do is increase your price by $1 or $2 and you're all set. So there's really no reason to be super scared. And those are the places. That's how you change your price. It is manageable. I mean, I think this is one of those things where it's like, okay, yes, the industry is changing, but you guys, KDP is changing their prices. They're upping their prices for the first time since 2016. So it's kind of due for it, considering all of the production cost and changes we've seen. And it's not that scary. It's manageable. It's part of business. So changes are coming, but they're manageable, and you can be empowered to handle those. Again, that's all in the blog if you go to newshelves.com. Elaine, what does my shirt say? It says you need coffee, and then it says Luke. It's from Gilmore Girls. Emma, my daughter, who is 12, and I watched Gilmore Girls together. We haven't actually finished all the seasons yet together. I've seen them, but she hasn't. And so she found these t-shirts, and they came in both of our sizes. So she got us matching t-shirts. I think we're actually both wearing them today, although I haven't seen her this morning. Okay. Is there a difference between Amazon and KDP for an author? Raymond, that's a great question. So KDP is Kindle Direct Publishing. KDP is Amazon's publishing platform. So it's owned by Amazon, but it's a little bit different in the sense that Amazon is the retail marketplace. That's where we buy books from. That's where we buy way too many things from, probably. And that's where our books can be purchased from. But KDP is Kindle Direct Publishing, which is the self-publishing platform or the print-on-demand platform owned by Amazon. So if you are an author publishing your own books, most likely you're going to upload your books to KDP as a publishing platform, and then you will sell your books through Amazon, which is connected to KDP. I know it's a little bit confusing, but it's the publishing platform. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, so Julie is asking if there are any podcasts in particular that I love for authors. So right before we actually started our recording, I was talking about Howard, who's on our call today. And Howard and I had a call earlier this week, and Howard was telling me that he had recently been on a podcast and it had released to a pretty big audience. And so he wasn't sure if he was getting much traction. And then we went into KDP and we were looking at some of Howard's sales, and I noticed he was a #1 new release on Amazon. I was like, oh, you got to be selling books then. And we noticed that not only was he selling books, but he had sold a large number of books in just a day or two. And I've been keeping an eye on his ranking on Amazon just because I want to cheer him on. And Howard's been really high up, like the top 10,000 for hardcovers and paperback. In all of books, and in I think the top 10,000 for Kindle as well, which means Howard's book is selling, and that podcast really paid off for him, which is so exciting, which brings up the question, all right, I'm sold, podcasts sound good. As an author, how do you find a podcast that's a good fit for you? So there are absolutely podcasts that really focus on authors, and they interview just authors, and they focus on books, and you can find them. I'd say Google. There are lots of them out there. If you actually look, you can Google, you can search iTunes, and then you can pitch them. Here's the thing though, I think those are great. I think they're fantastic, and if you are comfortable speaking, I think that you should apply for them, pitch them. But your biggest success as far as sales go is going to be when you find podcasts, not necessarily about books, but when you find podcasts about subject matter that really connects with your topics. So if you've written a book that's all about the story of two dogs, or we have an author who wrote a true story about raising a wild fawn that like came back every year and different things like that, well, then going to groups that really love animals, going to groups that are more likely to be that audience. So rather than necessarily finding book podcasts, finding podcasts where your audience is hanging out, that will get you by far the best return on your time, because you're not just talking about books. These are people who have curated an audience that would be interested in your book, in your topic. So it's not a one size fits all. I can't offer you a list of like, hey, these are all the best podcasts for authors, although those are great ones. People who are going on those author podcasts, or the listeners, tend to be other authors who maybe aren't so much interested in buying a book, or they are people who are already very much entrenched in reading in the book world, and they probably are pretty set in their genre preferences. So I think they're fantastic. I think you should do them. But if you really want to hit your audience and potential sales, you need to find broader range podcasts that don't just focus on books, but focus on your topic or who appeal to your audience. If you have a rom-com that is, I don't know, it's a rom-com, your second chance romance, divorcee gets back with her ex or something like that, well, then your audience is probably 30 to 50-year-old women. Where are they hanging out? Go to the cooking, well, maybe not the cooking blogs, but go to the blogs for women by women. Go to the funny blogs and different things like that. The podcast there, that's where you're going to find the best success, in my opinion. Let's see. What are the advantages of Findaway voices versus ACX for audiobooks? So ACX for audiobooks is ACX, just to confuse you further, ACX is Amazon's audiobook publishing arm. So ACX is for audiobooks. It's owned by Amazon, and ACX will get your book up on Audible and iTunes, but that's it. It stops there. And ACX and Audible do say that if you go exclusive with them, your books are only going to be available through Audible and iTunes. You get a higher royalty. You get a 40% royalty. If you go non-exclusive, if you say, yeah, I'm going to sell my books on Audible and iTunes, but I'm also going to go sell them on Spotify and Overdrive for libraries and different options like that, they're only going to give you a 25% royalty, which stinks. However, if you decide you want to go non-exclusive, I highly recommend that you consider using Findaway Voices, which is a distribution platform that gets your audiobook into a lot of places. They can get your book into Audible and iTunes if you decide to use them for that. But they also get your book into Spotify. They get your audiobook into Overdrive for libraries. They'll get your audiobook into Kobo. So lots more opportunity, lots more places for your audiobook if you Findaway Voices. Royalties are about the same as through ACX. I will say that if you are with Findaway Voices, Spotify has just gotten rid of their distribution charge to authors, which means that is the highest royalty you can get is through an audiobook sold through Spotify, which is amazing. And so that's kind of the differences. Now, what you can do if you're willing to upload in two places, you can upload directly to ACX for Audible and iTunes. This will give you more control on Amazon, but doing it non-exclusive. Then you can take your same audiobook files over to Findaway Voices, upload for broad distribution, but deselect Audible and iTunes so that they are not distributing to those two platforms because you're already doing that through ACX. That does overall give you the most control, the highest royalties. It does mean you've got two accounts. If you want to keep it simple, just upload to Findaway Voices. If you want to go broad distribution, and ACX if you're going exclusive. So those are kind of the options for both of them. Question here, what is the best way to get keywords for a Kindle version of the book? So I personally am a really big fan of Publisher Rocket. You guys know that. I talk about it a lot. It's what I use. Are there other tools out there? Yeah, but Publisher Rocket was created by an author for authors. They do regular updates. They take feedback if you're looking for something in particular and you give them that feedback. They're very receptive and roll out new features. It's a one-time license fee and you've got it for life. So I personally use Publisher Rocket for all of that. And you can use other things. Some people won't even use anything. Some people are using ChatGPT. It's all out there and you have options, but for me personally, I stick to Publisher Rocket. And of course, if anyone on the call uses anything else, feel free to throw your 2 cents in there. But I think most of us on the call anyway probably because I am such an advocate for Publisher Rocket. But you know, I guess it just depends, but that's what I prefer. I will drop in a link for Publisher Rocket. I'm always honest with you guys. Publisher Rocket is something I do an affiliate for. That's not why I support it. I became an affiliate because I love the program and because I use it. So if you use my link to sign up for Publisher Rocket, I do get a small kickback. It doesn't cost you anything extra. But that's what I personally prefer to use. How do you decide on where to find someone to sell your book internationally? So if you, I mean, that kind of depends there, Raymond. As far as selling internationally, if you're doing print on demand, let's say IngramSpark or KDP, both of those platforms do sell internationally. So when you sell or set up your book on KDP or IngramSpark, it kind of opts you in, you can opt out, but it opts you in for international sales and distribution. So your book's already available, and it's just a matter of deciding whether or not marketing your book to different countries makes sense for you and your book or not. For example, I have an author who is a historical fiction writer, but his series is very much based on US history. It sells outside of the US, but it's really mostly appealing to people who live inside the US. So we market a little bit outside the US, but there's not a great return on investment because most of the audience is proven to be in the US. So we stick to our marketing there. So just because your book can be promoted internationally doesn't mean it's a great fit for international promotion. So you'd want to keep that in mind. If you're talking about how do you decide if you should have a marketing team or a PR team internationally, again, I'd be looking at the market. Do you really think that that could sell internationally? Could it sell in a certain country? And then go and do your research, find companies, ask for recommendations. Always Google. I always Google the name plus scam and things like that to see what comes up. And then you kind of move on from there based on which country you are interested in specifically. All right. Let's see. A follow-up question to the first question about price barcode. Should the barcode on Ingram be different than the one on Amazon as the different? Your price should not be different on Amazon and IngramSpark. Okay. This is what I would personally do. Whew, I'm clear. So your price should be the same on all platforms. There's this big lawsuit with Fair Trade Commission involved where essentially people are charging different prices to different wholesalers or to different retailers. They're giving different retail prices that were giving certain retailers an unfair advantage. So that's kind of what happens. If you have a lower price on Amazon because you get more of a royalty, then you're actually giving Amazon a retail advantage over other retailers, because when you're going to, let's say, Ingram and you have a higher price, then you're actually giving less of a markdown to bookstores and retailers. So not only will they notice and are they less likely to carry your book in physical stores, but according to my understanding, that does not jive with what is required from the Fair Trade Commission. So you want your book priced the same across all platforms for that format. Your paperback price on Amazon, the retail price you set, should be the same price that you put on IngramSpark. Now, could Amazon decide to discount that book? Could you have a listing price of $15.99 and they sell it for $13.99? Well, sure they could. Just like Walmart can sell grapes at a discount. But that is the retailer's choice, and they take the hit on that financially. They still pay you your wholesale price, your retail price there. So that's my opinion. You can certainly do with that what you will. But so you would have the same price barcode because it would be the same, although a lot of people on KDP will choose not to do a price barcode because it's going direct to consumer, so it doesn't matter as much. Whereas when you're doing a price barcode on IngramSpark, it's because you need a price barcode to get into many retail stores. So Barnes & Noble requires it, Books A Million, a lot of bookstores require it. So some people have no price barcode on KDP, but have a price barcode on IngramSpark. Does your book have to be created by Findaway Voices to have them distribute it? It does not. You can upload your finished audiobook files directly to Findaway Voices. I have several clients who've done that once they've created their own audiobook, they've read their own audiobook and done it that way. So nope, doesn't have to be created on Findaway Voices to use the distribution services. If you're, I'm going to need a little bit more information, Raymond, as far as being concerned with language. Are you concerned that your book's not going to market in different countries because it's not in the language that's predominantly spoken there? Because if so, that's actually not a marketing issue. That is a translation edition issue, which is, it's just different. One is where you know how you're marketing it, but if you know that you're going to, I don't know, maybe you're really trying to market to Quebec in Canada and you know that they mostly speak French and you're like, well, I have an English version book. Having a French speaking marketing agency isn't really going to help you if people don't read the book in the language you have it written. Then you need, if you really think that's a big market, then you either need to consider trying to find someone to buy the translation rights, which means they are going to buy the rights to put your book into a different language. And it's like a publishing royalty deal, or you yourself need to translate the book and publish a different edition as the translated edition. So you'd have the English edition and the French edition. They'd have different ISBNs, different sales pages on Amazon, and so on and so forth. I'm about to upload my ebook and paperback to KDP and my paperback and hardcover to Ingram. What's the order for uploading? What goes first? There is no order anymore, Pat. So a couple of years ago, if you uploaded a book to, I want to say if you uploaded a book to IngramSpark first, Amazon would reject your ISBN, which is not really on the up, and enough people call them on it that they no longer do that. So you don't really need to worry about where you upload first. You can upload all on the same day, upload to KDP and IngramSpark, and you'll be all set and fine. Let's see. I wanted to go over to some of the questions we had. Oh, just interesting news that I saw this week, because I'm always reading stuff on publishing, was just the fact that the U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights is intervening in a Georgia county for trying to ban certain books that are directly associated with people of color, the LGBTQ plus community. So essentially, book banning has become this huge topic this year, right? Like it's become this huge, huge topic. A lot of things in Florida are being talked about, and yes, so banning books. And essentially what happened is that in some cases, we actually have entities stepping in and saying, you can't ban certain books simply because they're about people of color or written by people of color. You cannot ban a book because it was written by a gay person. You simply cannot do that. Now, if there's something that is truly banning books, I don't think will ever truly go away if there's something truly offensive about it. And let me tell you, I have read some stuff where I'm like, I absolutely would not want my kid reading it. You guys, there is a book. I'm not even kidding you. You can look it up. It's got thousands of reviews. There is a horror book that is about a haunted vagina. I'm not kidding. This book exists. It sells. It's got thousands of reviews. Do I necessarily want that at my child's middle school? No, probably not. But when we're trying to ban books simply because they are about a sexuality that we don't understand, or because the person has different color skin than us, or because it was written by a person of color. Like, that's just not acceptable. And so we're seeing this kind of tug of war between banned books where maybe things truly people may have concerns over, based on like age appropriateness, and then also this pool of where's the line between that and things that just aren't okay as far as discrimination. And so we're seeing that kind of happen. Lots of talk in Florida. So that's something just kind of interesting that I'm keeping an eye on. It's in the news a lot. And as a parent, especially, you know, it's something to be aware of, that when we ban books, we ban learning, we ban freedom of speech. And that is something that is a slippery slope, in my opinion. So just something I saw that stood out to me this week. Let me see. Yeah, and regardless of, you know, regardless of political affiliation, I think we can all agree that we can have kindness and love and acceptance, and that there's a line, right? There's just a line. Let me see. I know we had another question emailed in. How necessary is it to build a large email list? Well, Anita, that depends on your goals with the book, right? So if your goal is to get a publisher or an agent, having a large platform or email list is going to appeal to them, because they know that having those contacts, having that audience, means that you're probably more marketable and more likely to make sales. So it's really important to build a platform. I actually work with authors before they even pitch to agents to build up these things, to build up, you know, social proof that people want their writing and that the book will have an audience. As far as self-publishing or just promoting yourself in general, it's important to build your email list. And the reason why is I think social media is great. I think that it's fun and it gives us a platform, but I was watching this morning, I was drinking my coffee, watching a Facebook video, because I'm of that age where I'm like, no, I'm not on TikTok. I watch Facebook videos weeks later. So I was watching my Facebook video and someone was talking about how they had been locked out. Their TikTok account had been hacked and they'd been locked out. They completely lost their audience. And that happens more often than we would imagine. TikTok locks you out, Facebook gets deleted, something gets hacked. We just don't know. And you don't own that audience. You can't contact those people that you've been investing in building. So I think it's great to have a good social media following, but taking that social media following, taking those contacts and converting them to an email list gives you control to contact them down the road. And we're not dependent on the platform's algorithms. If I post on Facebook, will you see my post? Depends. Did you like any of my last 3 Facebook posts? Did you talk about a topic similar to mine? Do we live in a close proximity, like literally close proximity to each other? Those things affect the algorithms of who actually sees my post. Whereas if I send an email, I'm most likely, unless I get marked as spam, I'm ending up in that person's inbox. And if they're interested, they're going to click and open, and I've got a closer relationship as well as an easier contact. And that email list may cost in acquisitions, but it doesn't cost me every time I email them, which means that's a really good investment. So it is absolutely important, because it is one of your best tools for marketing your current book and every book to come. So I think that's why it's so important. Now, can you have a successful career without an email list? Yeah. Can you sell books without an email list? Yeah. But you're going to sell more and better over the long term if you cultivate that email list. So at the very minimum, it should be an option for people to sign up for your email list and for you to collect that data. I do personally use MailChimp. I've used MailChimp for a long time, but you guys, I have a mailing list between my libraries and my bookstores and the authors and publishers and things like that. I've got, I believe it's over 35,000 It might be 40,000 contacts on my MailChimp. So I have a big audience. I have a lot of people on it. And so I need some of the features that MailChimp offers. The average author may not need that. I know we have some people on the call who really like Substack. There was a really interesting article from Jane Friedman this week that was talking about Substack and how great it is. And I thought it was very interesting because it was all about, ditching MailChimp and moving to Substack. And I thought it was a very interesting perspective. I just found that article, I'll drop it in here. But I thought it was really interesting that at the end of that article, which was on Jane Friedman's site, is she put a little bit of a caution of, hey, this is a newer platform, use it, but have a fallback plan if it goes away. So do your research, see what features you need and what works for you. Substack, because it's free. If you sell through it, then they take a percentage, but it's free to get started. So Substack, you can use MailChimp, Constant Contact, ConvertKit. There are a lot of options out there. So find out what works best for your audience, your budget, and your needs. Some of them, again, I need the heavy duty MailChimp because I've got so many contacts in different audiences and things. That may not be the case for, an author who's just getting started. Is it possible to obtain the email addresses for the subscribers to my YouTube channel? It is not. So you don't actually own that information, just like Facebook. YouTube is a social media platform, so you don't have that access, which is why I think it's so important to have an email opt-in, to have something that you offer people and drives them to your website. So you may have a YouTube video. For example, one of my most popular YouTube videos is a tutorial on how to create Amazon A+ content. And one of the things I did there is that I created some templates for Amazon A+ content that I put up for free. I made it a really easy URL. It's newshelves.com/A+ to go with A+ content. And I did this YouTube video on how to, and then I offered this free template download that is on my website. And to get it, you have to enter in your email information. Now, at that point, I do personally have it as an opt-in where you can decide to get emails from me, or you can say, nah, no thanks. And it's completely up to you. But I drive a lot of traffic to my email list and to my website through that. So there are ways to convert your audience from YouTube to your email list, but you can't get a list directly from YouTube. So that is where we kind of put on our creative marketing hats and what can you offer? What of value can you offer that people will want to go exchange their email addresses? Are there email lists for purchase dedicated to authors, readers, literature? There are so many email lists you can buy, and I don't recommend any of them. And let me tell you why. Because if an email list, now certain email lists, more likely there are lists that have been cultivated where you can buy ad placement. For example, BookBub. BookBub has created this reader list, and you can apply and you can essentially buy ad space to their email list to promote your book to. So they're not giving you the email list, but they're allowing you to market to it. So that's one thing that you can do. It's like what I do when I do my library mailings, which are open till June 1st, by the way. But when I market to libraries, I don't sell my library list. What I do is I sell space to advertise to my list of library buyers, which is a little bit different. Now, there are actually lists that you can buy, people who have opted in, who have agreed that you can sell their information. Here's the thing, though, and a lot of those will be like libraries or bookstores, different things like that. But if you can buy it, so can the thousands of other authors out there. And those email addresses are usually inundated with emails and spam. So I'm not saying you'll never hit success with them, but very rarely are you going to get in front of the audience. You'll get an inbox, but will you actually get in front of an audience? Very rarely, because those email addresses have been so overused and essentially spammed. So that is actually why I don't sell my library or bookstore list, because I've cultivated relationships with my library buyers, with bookstore buyers, and I don't want them to become spammed by other people or myself and then start opting out or not reading my emails, because that's how I get books in front of them. So you can buy email lists. Some of them are better than others, but just keep in mind that if you can buy it, lots of other people can too. And so you're typically going into an overwhelmed inbox, which can have lower results than you hope for. Let's see. Will I offer another library mailing in the fall? Yes, 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 yes. So we have a library mailing going out in June. I've left it open until June 1st, and we've got libraries especially asking, always children's books, but also the big ask, and I've actually had libraries say, hey, what do you have new in romance? Romance and women's fiction are big, big sellers and very popular in libraries over the summer. So I've got that open until June 1st. That mailing will go out in June, but I will also have another mailing in the fall. So if you have a book that you think would be great for fall holidays, back to school, that kind of stuff, I will have another mailing then, for sure. I do them about quarterly. And remember, if you do want to, actually, let's talk about that. If you want to be in a library mailing, in order to make the best use of the promotion, there are a couple things that you definitely should have. Your book needs to be available from Ingram Wholesale. Usually for self-published or indie authors, that means you're uploading directly to IngramSpark. If your book's not up on IngramSpark yet, it's too soon for a library mailing. Baker and Taylor is the most popular option for library sales. So if you do have a book distribution that's broader, Baker and Taylor is great. If you have an ebook that is not exclusive on Amazon, so it's not in Kindle Unlimited, get that ebook, audiobook, whatever it is, up on Overdrive. Me personally, I use Draft to Digital for the ebook distribution and Findaway Voices for the audiobook distribution to Overdrive. Overdrive is the online system libraries use to buy and rent out books. Now keep in mind, if you are exclusive on Amazon, if you are exclusive through Audible, or your book is in Kindle Unlimited, which is exclusive through Kindle Select on Amazon, you cannot be in Overdrive. But if you're not exclusive, make sure your books are in there first. The other thing is, make sure that your book, even on Amazon, because I promise you guys, libraries do go and they check the book out on Amazon to see if it's popular. Make sure you've got reviews on your Amazon sales page. Push for reader reviews. If you have editorial reviews from Kirkus Library Journal, something like that, that's great as well. So make sure that you're optimizing your listing before buying ad space in a library mailing, because that's how it's actually going to convert and serve you better in the long run. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to my emails because I want to give space. I know you guys emailed early. So for a fan fiction novel, one that has loads of research built into it, can I include certain words in it as footnotes, especially for terms that not everyone knows? Here is my advice for any fiction book that has a lot of information people may not know. You either need a glossary where you've got words that maybe people don't know explained, that's typically in the back of the book, or you need an author's note, and that also typically would go to the back of the book. You can put it in the front of the book, but you don't want to hang people up with a really long author's note in the front of the book. But no, we're not putting footnotes in fiction. That is a big no-no. It distracts the readers. So you either have a glossary in the back or you have an author's note explaining, hey, this was built on a lot of research, years and years of research. Certain things couldn't go into the novel or the book for obvious reasons of reading in the flow, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to learn these phrases, these words, and then you provide them. But you do not want footnotes in a fiction book. And again, a glossary, something like that, gives options in the back that gives people who want to learn it. But the typical rule of thumb is, even if it's a well-researched book, if it's nonfiction, that's different, footnote away. But for fiction, we know that you did a heck of a lot of research, but you should give us the option to see the details of that research. The fiction should not force on us every detail of research you did to create a single scene. So this is really hard for historical fiction authors, especially. You may research 5 hours to find about one scene that goes into your book, and you want to put in all the cool details that you spent all that time researching, but we don't care, and it slows the story down. So you have to kind of self-edit yourself and just give us the punchy parts that pertain to the story. Now, if you want to include that research later, do it in the back of the book. Don't interrupt the story for that research. And the same goes for fan fiction, science fiction, different things that may have words that not everyone knows. Put them in the back. Give us the option to learn, but don't stop the story to put learning on us, if that makes sense. Let's see. I'm going to answer a couple more of our email questions. Let's see. I just saw LuLu recommended as a way to get one self-published book in expanded distribution. I'm trying to deal with IngramSpark. Could this be an easier way to reach Ingram? Here's the thing. LuLu is a print-on-demand company that, yes, can get your book into Ingram wholesale. However, they've got their hangups as well, and you earn less royalty when going to certain entities like Ingram. IngramSpark is owned by the same people, the same overarching company, Ingram Content Group, as Ingram Wholesale. So you're going to get your best deals there. And yes, there are frustrations there sometimes. There's a learning curve on the platform. Most of their customer service is done by email. You do have the option to purchase consulting time with them for an actual person on a call, and I've heard good things about that. So I think it just depends, like, what kind of book are you thinking about putting on LuLu? How much do the profit margins matter to you? Is this a specialty book? Is this something where once you get over the hurdles of IngramSpark, it'll be fine? And the next question, and this is not directed towards you, but the next question you have to honestly answer yourself is the platform the problem, or is your lack of knowledge the problem? If you don't know how to work within the platform, IngramSpark, LuLu, KDP, whatever it may be, if you maybe don't have the tools and the knowledge to work within that platform, then you may be the hang up, not that platform. Not pointing at you and not saying that's always the case, but it's something that has to be considered. Do you need some consulting help or someone to work with you to get past certain hurdles to get your book up on a platform correctly? Now, in some cases, it's the platform and it's glitching. And that's frustrating, and I understand that. And that's when you kind of look at your specific book, your needs, but also looking at the platform specifically and what they offer or don't offer and how that fits in with your business plan for your book. And then you kind of decide from there. So BookBaby's an option, LuLu's an option, IngramSpark, KDP. There are multiple ways to print a book, but they all have pros and cons. So you've got to look at those and see which ones matter most to you and fit in there. Oops. How do you research relevant bloggers or podcasters for a particular genre? Good old Google is your friend. I will say, if you're looking for podcasts, going directly into like iTunes or something like that and searching podcasts on your topic. So searching higher consciousness podcasts or searching animal podcast will be your best bet, because then you can see directly in the platform when they last recorded a show, their audience, their reviews, all that kind of stuff. But for bloggers, good old Google. So typing in certain keywords that will get you to bloggers. So your topic plus books, your topic plus book review, your topic plus blogger. Those are ways that you can find the people in your specific genre. It takes a little bit of legwork, but that is going to get you the best results. That's how we do our research at New Shelves, is good old fashioned plugging away and research that way. Let me see. How does Hoopla work for libraries? Is the decision to offer a book made by districts or by individual libraries? I want to reach out directly to libraries, but maybe need to check to see if my audiobook has already been chosen by library system. So that actually is not Hoopla specifically, that's a library specific question. So certain library systems will approve books for a region. Certain libraries actually have, each branch has the option to purchase books. So it depends on the library system. Some of them go by county, some go by state, some go by branch. There is no one size fits all. I think it was really interesting when I was in San Diego. I was talking to Jennifer, who is a circulation, or I'm sorry, she is not a circulation librarian. She is a librarian who buys resources for her library in California. And the rules that she was telling me are completely different than the rules at my local library. So, and the rules she was talking about were different than another librarian in a different part of California. So know that that is a library rule. I always say start at the base to the person you can get in contact with. It's much harder to get in contact with someone who is making buying decisions for an entire county than going directly to the buyer at a local library. Ask for the buyer, and they may say, well, we don't buy books directly at the branch. We go through this library, and then you can go through that way. But usually start small, keep your target small, start small, ask for information. And a lot of times you'll get them saying, oh, here's our submission form. Here's our guidelines. Here's the person who actually buys those books, and you can contact them and you work your way up. Let me see. All right. Another emailed question. What additional steps can I take to maximize the exposure and distribution of my self-published book? I'm currently on social media. I received editorial reviews. I'm working on getting more Amazon reviews, and she's in the library mailing coming up in June. My goal is to reach libraries, bookstores, schools, and other relevant platforms. So it sounds like you're doing so many of the right things. So good job getting started. The thing to keep in mind with book marketing is a lot of it is getting your plan together, doing it, and then repeating it. It is literally going through this cycle of here are the steps and start at the beginning. So starting with pitching local libraries, pitch those local libraries, see what happens, go bigger and bigger until you're at the state level, then go to another state and start over there. And it is a lot of continuous marketing. That's why I always say it's so easy to get overwhelmed, but you don't have to market everything in a week or a month or a year. Keep in mind that consistency is going to pay off much better than a sprint in the beginning and then just dying off. This is why I say 10 minutes a day. Can you commit 2 minutes a day to marketing your book? Make the list of your activities that really get you somewhere, that maybe it's ROI, but sometimes it's just building your platform, social media, pitching to bookstores, pitching to libraries. Give yourself a task list that you can work through. Give it, sometimes it's a weekly task, sometimes it's a monthly task or a daily task, and then say, okay, if I've got 10 minutes today, what's the best use of my time today? Sometimes you'll start with 10 minutes and be like, oh no, I'm on a roll, I got some time, I'll spend 30. Sometimes it's a struggle to get that 10 in, but doing things consistently is the most important. Building up online social proof and Amazon reviews, so important. Knowing that 91% of ebooks and 56% of print books are bought directly through Amazon. So building up that review bank is always important. Building up your audience, your email list, your social media, connecting with readers. But also thinking of, if you've got a book specifically for children, middle grade, young adult, specifically thinking of how your book can be used and introduced to children. That could be a library, that could be a teacher, that could be a school, and then thinking, how do I reach them and how do I bring value to them? Not just saying, hey, my book would be great for middle schoolers. fantastic. There's a lot of books that would be great for middle schoolers. But if you can come to them and say, my book would be great for middle schoolers, it fits this requirement for social studies, this requirement for ELA, and I've got a sample lesson plan that you're welcome to use. That brings value. That's going to get more attention, and then using something like that over and over. So it's all about, kind of seeing it like a pyramid of the things you need to do. You've got your broad things, like you need to just market your book and get your name out there constantly. These are things like blog tours, podcasting. This is library mailings through new shelves. These are your broad promotion where you're just getting your name out there. Then you need to have more specific things that are like ads for your book, an Amazon ad that goes directly to your sales page and asks for a sale. Then you've got things that are a little bit more targeted, and that's your email list, that's your social media, connecting with readers. So you've kind of got broad awareness, then you've got, building out those relationships in levels. And that's what's important, is that you're hitting the whole pyramid, because if you stay in just one spot, you're going to limit yourself, rather than when you give yourself broad market opportunity. And also part of it's awareness of your name in your book, and part of it's asking for a sale, and part of it's not buying an audience, but building an audience. And they need to go hand in hand for the best marketing power there. All right. I know we still have a couple more questions, you guys. I don't think I'm going to make them today, but if you email me these questions, I'll try to answer them next week. I did want to go live for just a minute and share my screen. So last week we had talked about AI and using AI, and I had said that I have enjoyed using QuickWrite. And I had people ask, okay, great, QuickWrite, but what does it do and how do I use it? And so I wanted to give you guys just a quick review of QuickWrite, which is AI. I'm dropping the link into the chat box. So if you're live, you'll see the link. If you're not live, feel free to just email me, info@newshelves.com, and I'm happy to send that to you. But how does QuickWrite work? Geez, I've lost my ability to speak. So I wanted to show you like actually inside QuickWrite and what it is and why I personally am enjoying it, some of the drawbacks, that kind of stuff. So QuickWrite at the moment is $197 for a lifetime license. You will get all their updates and you won't ever have to pay anything more. I like this, number one, because their price is going up to, I think, $297 in a couple of weeks. But not only that, most of the AI, there's free things right now like ChatGPT and things like that. But the word on the street, what I'm hearing a lot of, is that since these things are in beta, they're free. But what's coming with the next wave of AI is that all of this AI we've been using for free, they're going to start charging monthly subscriptions for. QuickWrite will end up on a monthly subscriptions. The creators have already acknowledged that. And so then you're paying a monthly fee, which can range anywhere. I've seen prices thrown around between $15 and $50 per month for AI tools that creators and marketers have really gotten used to using. And so there's that kind of consideration, is getting it now gives you the opportunity to keep the one-time price, which again, I'm a fan of. But how do we use this darn thing? Well, I think it's pretty cool. They have the Academy, which has like a bunch of YouTube like videos that you can see. But I think that this is cool because it is very focused specifically on authors and books. So I wanted to show you some of the ways you can use that. You've got these options of kind of how you're using it, and you get all of them when you buy QuickWrite. They have an AI image, which is actually creating images. I'm still a little out on the copyright on that because that's art that's being kind of used. You can certainly use it if you'd like. That one I probably wouldn't use as much, but I do like things like blog writing. So if I've got to write a blog, I can say I need to brainstorm article ideas, book marketing, and I just type it in and then I'll generate content. and it will come up with a list of ideas. So last week we talked about kind of the idea of ethical uses of AI. For me, I believe this is an ethical use because I can brainstorm, I can get ideas, but I'm not asking it to write for me. I'm not depending on it to be my creativity or my fact checker. I'm asking for ideas. And it's running a little bit slow probably because I'm also on Zoom and sharing screens, but you can see I just typed in book marketing and it spit out 19 ideas of possible book marketing blog ideas, the ultimate guide to self-publishing and book marketing, how to build a strong book marketing platform, the tactics that help me sell 10,000 copies of my self-published book. Now, am I going to use any of these exactly? Probably not, maybe, but it may give me ideas of things that I do want to research and I do want to start writing a blog about. So I like that it's kind of someone to brainstorm off of and push ideas off of. You can also do a blog intro, a blog outline. So I could say create an outline for an article on how to use QuickWrite for authors. And then it will generate an outline. Now, part of this in all AI, you guys, I mean, we've talked about this, you've seen this, it's all about knowing what to input, but I do think because this is very specific to authors and writers, that the prompts that they give you and kind of these drop-down boxes that narrow in the focus make it more user-friendly. So here we go. Here's their suggestion of an outline for how to use QuickWrite for authors, understanding the concept of QuickWrite for authors, the benefits, preparing yourself for quick writing. I think that's kind of funny. So you can see this, like, I'm not going to take this and just use it as is. That would be a mistake and I would not look very professional because it's not a human. It doesn't know that some of these things don't work, but it gives me something to start from. Then I wanted to show you the book description. So I've got Amy Collins' book, The Right Way, and I'm just going to take kind of part of the blurb here. So let's say you're noodling around with your synopsis, your marketing copy, and you're like, man, I'm stuck. I know we talked about this last week and how it can be hard. So you can, I just chose nonfiction writing, create a book title, create a book description. So let's say I want to create a book description. It asks for the title of your book, The Right Way, and then describe your book in a short phrase. So I could simply say self-publishing guide. I could do that, and it'll kind of give me a generic thing. Again, this is not going to be like, it's perfect, I'm going to use it, but it may give me some language that I'm like, oh yeah, that is very compelling. I should work that in. So it's a tool to use. It's not something I would just copy and paste over and say, I'm done. But I've said before, I have a really hard time starting with a blank page. I do much better when I have something on the page to start with. And this provides that for me. And that's why I like it, because it's like a brainstorming tool. So you can see they have literally pulled up a book description just from self-publishing guide and talking about manuscript submissions, only to receive rejection after rejection. Do you dream of seeing your book in print but don't know where to start? Look no further than The Right Way. And so you can see how they are using language and things that I may go, oh yeah, that really works for me. I should be using that. I've also taken, so remember, I actually copied that kind of one-liner. So I'm going to give it more specific direction on what I want in this description, because I'm actually going to pull part of the marketing blurb that I've already written for this book. And that's going to give me new things. And this works for fiction as well. So for me, it's a tool I use a lot. If you have a single book and you're only ever going to have a single book, maybe it's not going to be as valuable for you. But if you are writing and brainstorming, I think it's not only a fun tool, but a helpful tool. And if you are doing a lot of content writing, a lot of blogs and things like that, that definitely will make a difference as well. So you can see I've got new copy based on the new information I put in, and that it's more detailed, more specific to what I was already doing based on that. So again, I think that it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I feel like it gives us some cool information. And I like it. I mean, I won't lie, I like it. I do think that you could use this in a way that was not fully ethical. I do think, like, again, I'm kind of on the edge of the AI image, because you can do this. So create an AI image. I would like an illustration. And what should I make? I should make a smiling cup of coffee. That's what I'm going to generate, and it will make one. Now, I did a dog eating a watermelon the other day, and I will say that my dog had ears, and it also had cat ears. So, but here we go. I have a smiling cup of coffee. Did it pull this from somewhere? Absolutely, it did. Was that sourced? And given credit to the author? Were they paid for their work? I don't know. And that's why I'm kind of on the fence about this, because this isn't creating an image and then making it your own or getting brainstorming ideas. This is creating an image that you potentially would just go use. And I personally am not okay with that at this point. Some people are, a lot of people are. The difference that I see is when using the editor and things like that is that I'm using it as a brainstorming. I'm using it as a piece of the puzzle, not just using it as there it is. So that's my personal take on using AI ethically. That's why I do like this tool. So I'll just show you real quick. Power Editor is like everything. If you don't know how to categorize your writing, it's in there. Fiction writing, nonfiction writing. You've got marketing, promotion, or business. I do think this one's really interesting because each of these have different drop-down prompts. So this one has business or product name. Maybe you're kind of trying to decide on your publishing and print name. You would have to be really careful that you weren't getting something that was already in use, but it may jumpstart creativity. Business plan, video sales letter, tagline. I actually did use the tagline for a headline in a description the other day. I didn't use it exactly as it was, but it got me started. Social media post, Twitter post. So this is kind of fun because I could say, what are you creating a Twitter post for? Free publishing advice, and I can put it in there. And again, I could kind of use that for Twitter and for marketing. So it's got a lot of cool I can't talk. It's got a lot of cool uses, especially if you have a harder time coming up with content. And it even gives you hashtags for Twitter, which I really enjoy. And maybe I use it exactly as it is, maybe I revise it, but I think it's a nice tool to have. Blog writing, translate content. Be very, very careful because what you translate may not actually be correct. It may be technically correct, but not fully correct. So you can use these things, but definitely have it read by someone who is native in the, a native speaker, or definitely speaks that language well before just using that. Terrible mistakes have been made when you just auto translate. And then you can rewrite content. So let's say, all right, let's say I want to rewrite this tweet. I'm like, okay, great. Or maybe I wrote something. I wrote a blog conclusion that I didn't really like and I wanted to rewrite it. You can drop that in there. So uses for fiction, nonfiction, for marketing, for blogs. And you can see, oh, it reminds me, this one reminds me of Quillbot. It like paraphrased essentially. So it gives us some strong call to action, some language that we might have not thought of otherwise. So again, that's available from QuickWrite. QuickWrite at the moment is $197 through June 16th. Then it'll go up to $297, but only if you use someone's like someone's affiliate link. Otherwise, if you just go to their website, I know they're moving to a subscription model. All right. So I want to just cover that because I had questions after last week. If you have follow-up questions, email me info@newshelves.com. I know we have questions this week we didn't get to answer, and I'm so sorry, but if you email me, we will answer those next week, and we'll see you then. Bye, guys. Have a great weekend.